Alright, we're going to begin working on our very first project, which is our company's story web. This is a project that's going to allow you to kind of figure out what it is your company is going to do and really brainstorm it. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to do this for every project, no matter what project. We start off by opening our BoxSync folder, and we want to go to CEO Challenge. Now once you're in CEO Challenge, you need to do a couple of things. The first thing you want to do is open up your CEO Challenge student workbook. You can also use a hard copy of the workbook, but I notice a lot of the students prefer to just have a digital copy open on their computer at all times. Now the very first time you open up this student workbook, it'll probably be on the front page, but if it's not, just go ahead and move it up to the front page. And what you are going to do is you are going to go to our very first activity. So we'll go ahead and scroll down. And our very first activity on page number 19 of our student workbook is the Introduction to CEO Challenge and Story Web. Now we did the Introduction to CEO through handwritten. We talked about your interests, the words that describe you. So we're going to move straight on to the Story Web. The first thing it does is it tells us to launch a desktop publishing program. We can usually ignore this first step for most assignments and look at the second step. And it asks us to open a template named Story Web. Now we find those templates by opening up our BoxSync folder and going to CEO Challenge, Student Templates. Now we're in Unit 1, so you'll go ahead and click on Unit 1 Templates, and you're going to find the one that it tells us to look for, which is Story Web. So when you see the one that says Story Web, go ahead and double click it, open it up. And once it opens up, we have the beginning of our very first project. Now, what I want you to do, as soon as you open up any project, you open up a template, the first thing you have to do is save it. Now, I have a special file or a special video set up for how to save. So if you ever have questions, you can't figure out how to save, I want you to watch that first video. Otherwise, I'm going to walk you through briefly here. The very first time you save something, you're going to go to Save As and not Save. When you click on Save As, what you're doing is you're telling this computer that you are going to save this document under a certain name. So, if your screen looks like this, you want to hit this down arrow, and you want to make sure you're under BoxSync, CEO Challenge, and then Student Work. Now you'll notice when you open up Student Work that you already have a folder with a number and your name. You are going to click on your number and name to open up your folder. Now you notice I already have quite a few things here from last quarter, but I'll just show you how this works. So you're going to save this as your number. For me is 18, but you're going to use your own number. So if your number is 1, you're going to put 1, and then you're going to put your own name. So I'm going to put Mr. Swift, and then you're going to title it the project or activity name, which is Story Web. So I've got it ready to go, 18, Mr. Swift, Story Web, and I'm going to hit Save. Now there's already one there, so I'm going to go ahead and change this to number 2, just to show you what it's going to look like. And as soon as you hit Save, it'll go ahead and save it. Now, you are going to be doing quite a few things on this activity, but what I want you to do first of all is I want you to kind of understand what each of these things are. You've already talked about what your business is going to be, what you're thinking you want to do. So, for instance, if you are going to sell fish bowls, you are going to put business idea, maybe you're a fish store or pet store, and you're going to put the type of business you're going to have. So I might double click on here and change the text to pet store. And I want to make sure when I'm doing these projects that I always follow along with the student workbook and not just the video. So you'll go to the student workbook. You are going to insert your name in the footer. It tells us to do that, so we'll go to name, Mr. Swift. And I got into the footer just by clicking on it. When you go down to the footer area, just double click and it'll come up. Now, the next thing it tells us to do is to in the center shape, type the business that we have chosen under our business idea. So we put, for the example, pet store. Then you need to have a product or service shape, or in the product or service shape, delete the one you're not doing. So I'm not really a service. A service would be maybe if I'm a pet groomer, but because I'm just a pet store, I'm a product. And my product, we'll add after that in just a moment. We are going to use fill effect, and we are going to change the color of the center shape. So we're going to click on this. We're going to go to format, and you're going to see under shapes styles there's this little paint bucket. We can use this paint bucket to change the color of the shape to anything we want. Maybe start thinking now what the color of your business is going to be, but it's not too important. Now we are going to go ahead and do that same thing for the different boxes. So I'm going to change these boxes to a different color. Let's do orange. So I'm going to turn all of these orange. And now I already have a start to my story web. Now we're going to follow along and see what it says to do next. And it tells us to choose a different shape and draw it next to the product or service shape. So we have product or service right here, and we find our shapes under home. So you're in home, and you're going to click shape, and you're going to find something else. Maybe a triangle, a rectangle. Make it simple. I'm going to go ahead and use this octagon, and I'm going to draw it right here. Now you'll notice something weird happened when I drew this shape. Everything else shifted. It moved over. Now in order to turn that off, I need to click on this shape and hold down the control button as I click. When I do that and I click on the shape and I press control, I get this little box that comes up, and I want to go to wrap text, and I want to change it to none. You're going to have to do this for every box that you create. You're going to notice that this is going to be a problem you're going to have quite a bit throughout this quarter, is needing to change the wrap text. Anytime you insert something or start typing, if everything moves over, you need to turn off the wrap text. So once I've got that done, I'm going to look at what it tells me to do next. It asks me to choose another color for this shape. So it's already blue. I kind of don't like that blue, so I'll change it to something a little bit different. Let's go with gray. So I've got this shape made, and you're going to copy and paste this about 10 times and place the text boxes around the page. I'm sorry, first we need to add some text. So we're going to right click on the shape. If you can't right click, just double click into it or hit control click. And as soon as you click on it, you should be able to start adding text. We can make the text bigger or smaller by changing the font size. I'll make it a little bit bigger. And here I'd be able to start putting what my product is. So maybe, well, before I type that, we'll go ahead and copy this. It tells us to copy this about 10 times around the other circles. The way we're going to copy is we're going to click on the shape, we're going to hit control, we're going to click on it, and we're going to go to copy. Another way of copying is clicking on the item and pressing Control C. Then when you press Control V or Command V, you can paste it. So Command C copies and Command V pastes. So what we're going to do is you are either going to Control and click to paste or copy, or you can do Command C and Command V. Once you have one made, you can just hit Command V a bunch of times and start getting these boxes put around the rest of your circles. Alright, once we have this done, we are going to start putting in our information. So under the first one, I'm going to have to put under these first three what products I'm going to sell. So because I'm a pet store, maybe I sell dog food. And then maybe I sell cat toys. And maybe I sell live fish. Okay, so now I've got my product, the different things that my store will sell. Now you don't have to have everything, but list a few. If you're a service, you need to put the type of things you're going to be doing in your business. After that, under your location, you're going to put where you're going to be located. Now you might only have one for here, but you do need to have a state or a city. So I'm probably going to be in California. And you can always make your box a little bigger to make sure that the text fits right. And I'm going to click on the next one. I'm going to say I'm going to be in San Diego. Because we definitely need another pet store here. And because I'm not using this one, I'll go ahead and delete it for now. My target market are the people who are going to be using my business. Whenever you hear this phrase, target market, for the rest of the time, it's referring to the people you're trying to sell stuff to. So my target market would be pet owners. And I want my pet store to be kind of a fancy pet store, really, really, really fancy pets and really expensive fish. So maybe I might say wealthy people. Because only wealthy people are going to be able to buy the type of fish that I sell or the type of dog and cat food that I sell. So maybe you're not selling to wealthy people, maybe you're selling to average, maybe your target market is teenagers, maybe your target market is men or women. It's going to depend. So your target market is who are your customers? What are their ages? What are their what defines them? Are they athletes? Are they moms? Are they dads? Who is going to be shopping at your store or buying your service? And then need for business, this is where you're going to put very specific, why do we need your store? Why do we need your company? What makes you different? So under need for business, I might say there's a lot, well, why do we need another pet store? We'll say mine's because it's a high-end store. I'll say specialty fish. So you can't get these you can't buy these fish anywhere else, so you have to come to my store to get them. So that's one of the reasons why we need my store. So specialty fish and organic food options. Right? So maybe my store sells stuff different than other stores. Then what we're going to do is we need to make sure after we have all of the boxes set up and our stuff put in, we're going to add some shapes. So I'm just going to add connector lines, and the way I do this is I click on lines and I'm going to just drag where I want it. So I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to do that for each of these boxes. I'm going to go to shape, line, I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag. And I'm going to just keep doing that until all of my boxes are connected. This shows that these three boxes are connected to my product. Then I'm going to do the same thing and connect my target market with my circles or my shapes that connect the target market. And if you ever do it too long, you can either shorten it or you can move it behind. And the way you can do that is go to Layout. Sorry, let me get this a little bigger. Sometimes the options get drug out of the way. It's actually under Format. We're going to go to Reorder and we're going to move it to the back. So send backward. I'm going to just do that a couple more times, or send to the back, and then it puts that line behind the other ones. And I'm just going to keep making those lines until they're all connected. just like this. And once I have all of my lines connected, then I'm ready to save my project. So I've already done Save As. If you look at the top, you can see that my name in the story web is already up there. So what I need to do now is I need to change it to just File, Save. When I hit File, Save, it automatically updates this to my BoxSync folder. So anytime I go to my BoxSync folder, it doesn't matter what computer in the room I'm sitting at, I can open up my file and find this document. Now, your colors are going to be different. They might not be the same as mine, and if you want, you can spend a little bit of time going around and finding a better color designs, maybe different shapes. So let's see what it would look like if they were yellow. Oof, can't see because of the white text. Let's make these black, see what that looks like. Now you can change your colors, it doesn't matter, but just make sure it's all kind of neat and the same. I wouldn't have lots and lots of different colors. I would try and stick to maybe 3 or 4 colors total. Once you're done and you like the way it looks, go ahead and hit Save. And then you are done with your very first project.